Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 2. I am Francis Oyima, edit, coming to you live from here, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu Rai Senate seeks speedy confirmation of Aliyu as ICPC boss. Senate swears in Yahona as Abo's replacement. Plus, IMF warns of long-term consequences to Middle East economies from Israel-Hamas war. We will bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for joining us. First on the news this afternoon is Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who has written to the Senate for expeditious consideration of the confirmation of the appointment of Adamu Aliyu as chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. The appointment of Saka Suleiman and Professor Dantata as members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission was also conveyed in a letter to the Senate President by President Tinubu. Recall that President Tinubu, more than a week ago, appointed Dr. Aliyu as the new chairman of ICPC in furtherance of the renewed Herb mandate to reform key institutions and invigorate Nigeria's war on corruption. And while President Tinubu has launched the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Fund, speaking at the Council Chamber, President Tinubu said the country owes a debt of gratitude to her gallant troops who have risen to the challenge of securing the country. Tinubu went on to underscore the government's commitment of 18 billion naira that has been approved for the benefits for the families of fallen heroes of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Away from that, the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAAC, says it shared 903.48 billion naira among the 3 tiers of government for September 2023. FAAC disclosed these in a communique issued at the end of its latest meeting chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. In different statement issued by the Director of Press and Public Relations Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Bawa Mowa, and the Director of Press and Public Relations of the Ministry of Finance, Stephen Kalibi, the total figure shared for September showed a decrease of 196.62 billion naira compared to 1.1 trillion naira shared in August 2023, noting that it was the first time it decreased since May revenue. According to the statement, about 54.43 billion naira was given to the cost of collection, 347.86 billion naira was allocated to transfers and refunds, while the sum of 289 billion naira was transferred to non-oil revenue savings for the month of September 2023. A statement further disclosed that gross statutory revenue of 1,014.95 billion naira was received for the month of September 2023. Meanwhile, the federal government has hinted that it would launch a roadmap for the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, stated this during a panel discussion at the 29th session of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG, with the theme Pathways to Sustainable Economic Transformation and Inclusion. Oyetola acknowledged the timeliness of the summit, noting that its output would be considered in developing Nigeria into a hub of maritime trade and ancillary services in Africa. The minister also disclosed his resolve to get presidential endorsement for the use of scanners in port operations in the country, adding that seaports all over the world have gone digital, and digitalization is mainly used to drive efficiency and remove human contacts that are slow and breed corruption. We move to the red chambers, where the Senate has sworn in Amos Yahona as the new senator representing Adamawa North Senatorial District. The swearing-in was performed by the Deputy Senate President, Jabrim Barrow, who presided over the plenary. Yahona, a member of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), replaces Abo, who was sacked by the appeal court last week Monday. In the meantime, the Senate has justified the planned purchase of luxury vehicles for lawmakers in spite of dissenting voices in the last few days. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Services, Sunday, Karimi, said the leadership of the two chambers of the National Assembly decided to buy the luxury cars for lawmakers because of durability and maintenance for the period of 4 years. He further stated that Nigerians were picking on lawmakers but ignoring ministers. According to him, some ministers have more than 3 Land Cruisers, Prado, and other vehicles, and questions are not asked. On judicial matters, the Supreme Court is scheduled to deliver judgment on Thursday, October 26th, in the cases of the Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, and the All Progressives Congress (APC) and its candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The judgment date was confirmed by all parties involved today. Recall that the PDP presidential candidate and his Labour Party counterpart have lodged appeals challenging the September 6 ruling of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal (PEPT) that upheld Tinubu's electoral victory. On labour matters, the organised labour has expressed dissatisfaction with the slow pace of implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) it signed with the federal government to avert its planned nationwide strike. The state chapters of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) said failure to implement the agreement before the October 30th deadline might leave them with no choice but to down tolls, noting that they had commenced mobilization of members across the country. Recall that the national leadership of the NLC and TUC had on October 1st reached an agreement with the federal government to pay 35,000 naira to all federal workers beginning from September, pending when a new national minimum wage would be signed into law. The resolution provided that the wage award would be paid to the federal workers for 6 months, while states were encouraged to extend the same benefit to their workers. We move now to Africa, where King Charles III and Queen Camilla has met with members of the UK's Kenyan diaspora during a reception at Buckingham Palace. Reports say the royal couple will also visit the East African nation from October 31st to November 3rd. According to reports, Kenyan President William Ruto invited the royal couple for the visit, which comes as the African nation prepares to celebrate 60 years of independence from Britain in December. The program will reflect the two countries' desires to working together on a range of issues, which include boosting prosperity, tackling climate change, promoting youth opportunity and employment, advancing sustainable development, and creating a more stable and secure region.